In this video, I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons to live in a van. Economics, just simple economics. You're priced out of other options. If to afford the apartment, you have to work 70 hours a week just to afford the apartment, then you lose your personal work-life balance. That's gone. You're just working all the time just to go home to get enough rest to go back to work. So you decide to cut back on your expenses, live more minimally, and free up your personal and work-life balance. The freedom. When you're self-employed like I am through DoorDash, and you live so cheap like I do in a van, you have options to decide your own schedule. You can wake up every day when you want. You don't have a boss telling you when to wake up, and you can decide your schedule. If you want to travel because you got a van, you're self-employed, either remotely or a job that you can do from anywhere, then you're free to decide, I think I'm going to go over there this week, and I'm going to go do that. So the freedom, the freedom is really a big reason why to get into van life, is because with a remote job, living minimally, for a few gallons of gas. I mean, I know we got the war with Iran going on right now, and oil prices here in Los Angeles are $5.50 a gallon. But you can put a couple $100 in gas in your van, and you can go drive somewhere that you want to go. I think I'll go out to the Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico and spend a week there. Well, you can do that, and like with DoorDash, I can plan to stop here in DoorDash, and then I can go do that. So the freedom is why you want to get into van life, is you're living minimally. So you're not working all the time, and you've got the freedom to decide if you want to go take a trip somewhere. You can go just take a trip somewhere. And of aspects of society, the increasing property taxes and rents and the price of everything that just keeps going up. So by moving into a van, you've now turned the dial back to easy mode. Okay. We're giving up all the comfort and luxury for just simple, minimal living in a van. And okay, so when we reject society, we reject all these systems, the matrix of society, that is going to provide a better quality of life. And you're talking about, well, what do you mean? I was living in my apartment, I had a room, I could stand up, I went to work. What do you mean? How is my quality of life going to improve? Well, I'm going to tell you. Because when you're living minimally, and you only need a few $100s a month to live, and you're working part-time, the fatigue goes away. Along with the fatigue going away, the pressures of life and the stress fall away. Peace of mind, and you're going to find peace in your heart. So the fatigue, the pressures, and it just brings living minimally in a van just brings a higher quality of life, in that sense of inner peace and in the pressures of life and all that stress just falling away. Number 5, now that we're on number 5, is escaping the rat race. The work, eat, sleep, buy more crap. Here's what people are doing. They're getting it. Here's what the matrix and what the rest of society is doing. The masses, we'll call them the masses. Okay, here's what the masses are doing. They get a job, say making $1,200 a week. They get the big boy job. They're working 60 hours a week. They don't actually plan a budget out. What they do is they do what they're told to do. They work on their credit score so they can get higher credit limits, so they can go into debt, so they can buy a vehicle they can't even afford. And so what they're doing is they're living above their means in debt. So they're in the rat race. They go to work. They just look at the payments on stuff, and they're like, oh, I can afford this payment here. I can afford this payment here. I can afford that payment there. And I can afford this rent. I can afford to rent this. Yeah, I think I can do this, without actually a real plan to budget out like their living expenses, their income, and their living expenses. They're just saying, okay, well, I could make this work. So they're in the rat race. Their plan, these people's plan who do this, and there's a lot of them. We're talking millions of people. That's how these banks were able to build massive towers. Their plan is they're going to work 60, 70 hours a week. And we know, I've worked with people like this. 60, 70 hours a week still is not enough. They're living so beyond their means that 60, 70 hours a week still isn't enough. So you're escaping the rat race. You the work, eat, sleep, buy more crap, you're escaping. The drudgery of having to pop up every 10 hours to go to work, you're escaping all of that. You're bringing peace back into your life, and with peace comes peace of mind, peace of heart, and your soul. And I think those are 5 great reasons, 5 good reasons to live in a van. Minimally. We're not talking about big expensive Sprinter vans or anything like that. We're talking a cheap, you can buy a motorcycle for $500. You can find $500 motorcycles. So we're living cheap, we're living economically. So we bring peace of mind, and so peace of mind comes peace of heart, and we're escaping the rat race, the freedom to be able to have your own schedule. You're not on the boss's schedule now because you're living minimally, and in a van you're on your schedule, and that's different because if you go get self-employed, say you go sign up with DoorDash, you get yourself a motorcycle like I did, and you sign up on DoorDash. Well, if you get a bunch of bills and move into an apartment, you're like, oh my gosh, I can make $1,000 in a week. Well, I'm going to work 60 hours a week doing DoorDash. Well, then you're not escaping the rat race, are you? You're living above your means. You're just living like everybody else. So we're going to live minimally. Paid off motorcycle, paid off van. And that's going to bring us freedom to have our own schedule. We're not going to have to get up 5 in the morning. Like, oh my God, I got to get up and pay all these bills. We're not doing that anymore. So, okay, if this video brought you some clarity on 5 reasons to live in a van, you're priced out of other options. Maybe it's just simple economics, the freedom, rebellion or rejection of some aspect you have of society, a better quality of life, and escaping the rat race. Hit the like, thumbs up video, and look at the rest of my series on living in a van. Thanks for watching.